Hello everyone, welcome to the third lecture on C++ programming language. I'm really happy. On the last lecture, which was the second lecture on C++ programming language, we downloaded the C++ compiler, we installed the C++ compiler, we wrote the first C++ program, and then we compiled the first C++ program, and then we executed the first C++ program. So I hope you enjoyed from that lecture, and you practically what I did in that lecture, you also did. So in this lecture, I'm going to again explain the structure of a C++ program, which we already wrote it on the previous lecture. I explain again, and then on the implementation part, I'm going to download one of the IDEs, which is called Code Blocks, which makes our program, like writing our program much faster than the notepad which we wrote it our program in the second lecture. So in this lecture, let's start by writing, the first C++ program, and we see the structure of our C++, program. So we start by a traditional program called hello world, and we executed and we compiled and executed that program in the previous lecture, but I start again and writing. Why we use from the hello world program? And as a student, as someone, when you start learning a C++, a programming language, any programming language, so traditionally you start by writing your first program which outputs, which prints the hello world text on the screen. Why people, why students learn this, why the teachers teach you and start from this, program, hello world program, which is very popular, because, there is some reasons. Like first, you write the minimalist, program on that language, the easiest program on that language, and it's really easy for you to understand that. Second, it will help you, to write, to learn the structure of, writing programs on that language. You learn how programs are written on that language, like the complete structure of that program on that language. And the third, you actually test that your compiler is working, your tools is working when you install. So that's, people start from writing, codes in any language. Their first program is, a traditional hello world program. So let's do it again. So in the last lecture, we saw when we write a C++ program, we start from include IO stream. We start from this line, and this line, which is the first line in your C++ programs, it inserts the content of this file in our program, the content of this library, which is called input-output stream. This is a library. This is a library in C++, a built-in library, and it is called also either files. Why it is called either files? Either file, because when you add the library in C++, it should be added at the top of your program, so we can call it header, So that's called also either. Inside this library, we have some objects, some functions like cout, like cn. Cout is used when you want to print, a text or a content of a variable, a number on the screen. Anything you print on the screen, the object of cout or the function of cout is responsible for that. Then we have cn, which is inside this library, another object, and that's the duty of the cn is to take numbers or input or information from the keyboard, from the user. Then we have cerr, which is used to print out the error message on the screen. And then we have clog, which used for logging messages. So inside this IO stream, there are multiple objects like cout, cn, cerr, clog. If you want to use one of these in your program, you need to write this IO stream library, include this IO stream library in your in the first line of your program, and that's called either, because it should be on the first line of your program, at the top of your program. Then we include it, we add it by using name, by using namespace std. Using is a key English word, yes? Include is also English words. So this is, because this is called C++ a middle level language, because we use actually the English words. Like hash include. Include is, something adding or inserting the content of this file in our program. And that's, they included an English word. And also the using means use the namespace of std, or you use the main, the standard library of C++. We need to insert, we need to have the standard library of C++ in every program in C++, because inside this standard library, all the libraries, including iStream, is, inside this library. And it also, the definition of C++ languages inside this library, like how you can write, how we can, every statement should, like ends with a semicolon in C++, the variable name should be, should have, letters, digits, and underscores, and the variable name should not contain, white space. So this kind of definition exists here. Then we have the main method. Oh, sorry. We have the main method, integer main, and we open the curly braces and close the curly braces. This is called the body of our method, body, or function body. This is the main function. The main function is the entry point of our program in C++. And every program in C++ should have at least one main function. Because because the entry point, or the execution of our program, starts from main function. And when our operating system, or when the CPU execute our programs, it starts from this main function. And it's, if you see, the name of this function is main. Main means this is the main part of our program. Why it is the main part of our program? Because anything you write inside these curly braces, the open curly brace and the end curly brace, anything you write here, it will be executed by, by the CPU line by line. It starts from line 1, line 2, goes to the third line, this is the fourth line. So that's, we need to write this, we need to have the main function in our program. And the main function, is the start point of programs, and the execution of a program starts from the main function. So what we do here, I'm sorry, I should put here. So inside the main function, I print out hello world. I write cout, then insertion operator, I want to print a text. A text or a string always should be inside double quotes. So I write here hello world. At the end, semicolon. Every statement in C++ should end with a semicolon. Every C++ command should end with a semicolon. And this line is called one statement. And we use the cout, you see here? Why we included this iStream? Because the cout, we already talked, this cout object or cout function is included inside this library. So that's, we brought it, we included, or we inserted this library on the first line, because we use the cout. If we remove this line, the first line, and we write cout here, the compiler, the C++ compiler doesn't understand this one. What is this? It will give you a compile time error and says, I don't recognize the cout, because we don't have this in our program, in our, the hash include iStream. So when we need to use the cout, cin, cerr, clock, we need to have this line in our program. Then we have our main function. The integer is called a return type. This is called a return type. Any function has a return value. Any function we write, it returns something to us. Like we write a function that adds numbers together. So the result of those adding those numbers are an integer number. So it will like I gave a function like 10 plus 15, and it's become, and the function adding those two numbers and return the result to me. And the result is an integer number, which is 25. The same thing happened here. The main function returned 0. We write a return statement, then 0. And why the main function always returns 0? Because, you know, the 0 is first integer value or integer number or whole number. When we talk integer, it's called whole. So that's, you know, the return 0 means and tells the operating system that this program is, you know, successfully executed. So there is no error in this program. So that's, we need to return 0. And that's, you know, the integer means here that the main function return a value, an integer value or a whole value. So there is, we return 0. So this was the first program in C++, and this is the structure of a program. Any program we write in C++, you know, it includes, you know, we use the IO stream here, then we, you know, using the namespace std, we include that one, and then we have the main function. Inside the main function, we write, you know, our complete programs. So this is the, you know, the structure of C++ program. And when we write this program, so we save this file at .cpp. Like suppose I clean this. I clean. So when we have our source code or source file, when we write any source file, we save that file with, you know, like I put the name is hello.cpp. hello.cpp. And this .cpp tells the compile, tells our, you know, computer that this is a C++ file. Then we need to compile this program. So we use the command g++, the name of our program, name of our file or source file, cpp. And the output of this file always be a file like a.exe. And this is the, you know, the file which the CPU understands this and execute. So if we have another file and use, you know, like G++, we wrote it another program and called abc.cpp, and we have the same folder, and then this output the same file, and it be a.exe. And this a.exe will, you know, replace this file. That's the issue, yes? If we have multiple files and compile that, so this a.exe will replace this file. So that's an issue. Then we use the G++ to, you know, prevent from that error. So we use G++ abc.cpp and -o. We use dash option. So what kind of, you know, what name you want, because the default name is a.exe. Any C++ file, when you compile, it will generate, if you use g++ allo.cpp or abc.cpp or, you know, howeru.cpp, it will output a file called a.exe. It doesn't matter which, you know, what is the name here, but it will always output the a.exe, which is an issue. So when we want to prevent from that, we use the -o option. So we use abc.cpp -o, and I say generate a i.exe file. So now we have a file, after successful compilation, we have a file i.exe. And also the good things about the latest version of C++, you actually don't forget the name. Now we use G++. Now on the new version of C++, if you want to compile a program, you directly write C++. Now the name of the file is hello.cpp. So let me clean this. So we have our file. We have our file which called hello.cpp. And we want to compile this program, yes? And then we execute this. So what do we use? We say C++. On the recent version of C++, we can use G++ as well, but it is easier to, you know, to remember C++. So you write C++ and the name of the file hello.cpp, hello.cpp, and it will, output another file which is a.exe. So our compiler, the compiler in C++ is called, G++ or C++. So now they include C++, so we don't need to write, G++. So hello.cpp is, will be converted to a.exe, which is a machine language. Here the content of this file is, 0 and 1, which the CPU can directly understand. And now if I write, like I have my name, like instead of a.exe, I should hi.exe. So I write here hello.cpp, and the output should be like I write here -o. There should be a space, okay? Between hello.cpp, there is a space, -o. Then we put here, i.cpp, i.exe. So now the output of my, the output of the compilation will be a file which is i.exe, not, always a.exe. So we can use the C++ now. Instead of G++, you can use C++ because you can remember always. So they added this on the recent version. So now this was the compilation and, the running of program process. So now we go and talk about IDEs. On the last lecture also we talked about IDEs, which was integrated development environment. Okay. So the IDEs are the application or softwares which helps the programmers to try which helps programmers to write the program very easily. We use IDEs as a programmer to help us to more quickly write programs. And the IDEs, when we download, it has everything. It has the code editor. Which we write our code there. It has the compiler. It also has formatting. It means if you define, the keywords will be in one color, the variable names be in another color, the class name will be in another colors. And so we have code editor, we have compiler, we have formatting, and then it will show also the errors. If there is an error, you forgot a semicolon, under that line there will be a underline, and it tells, hey, you forgot it here, a semicolon. So one of the IDEs we talked in last lecture, it was code blocks. It was the code blocks IDE. So now let's go and implement our program in code blocks, as well as I will show you how to use the C++ compiler. Instead of G++, we can use the C++ compiler. And let's go and implement and download our IDEs and implement our programs there. Thank you. So now I am in my Windows computer. So what I can do, so we first practice another program in C++ language, and we write another program to much more practice. So let's start by opening the notepad. So I open the notepad and I start writing another C++ program. So I write here, like I create another file. So I write here hash include iostream, which is input output stream, and we add our iostream library because we need to print out the message on the screen of computer. Then in another line we using namespace std, which we add the standard C++ library in our program, and we need in every program to have these two lines. Then we have our main function, which has curly braces, and we close the curly braces. So here inside the main function, as you know, the main function, the start of the program or the execution of our program starts from the main function. So we write here cout statement, and I write here cout welcome to the third C++ lecture, and semicolon. At the end, we have return 0 because our main function returned an integer value, which is 0, which tells the operating system that this program is successfully, you know, executed. So what we can do now, after this, we save this file. So we go there and save this file. And I go to the C++ programming. Yeah, so that's, and change the save as type to all files. Because if you don't change any name you give here, it will be saved as text file. So I write the name mm, like third.cpp. Any name you would like to, you can put here. I can write I.cpp and save it. Once I save it, I can go to that folder, which is, the C++ programming. I can see here the I.cpp. So in this folder, I open my CMD. When I open CMD, now I can use G++, and I.cpp to compile my program, or I can use the C++, I.cpp, then I enter. So my program is successfully, compiled because I cannot see any error in the screen. So if you don't see anything here, it means your program is successfully compiled because the compiler also check, we can see here the a.exe file. So this file is, generated, which is a .exe or executable file, which the CPU can understand the content of this file because the content of this file is, zeros and one. So now what we can do, we run our program. So I write here a.exe, and you can see welcome to the third C++ lecture. So now instead of using G++, so you use C++, so you will never forget that. And that's, this one is, included on the latest version of the C++. So this was, I just wrote this program as a, as a practice. So now let's close this, and we go now, open our browser, and we need to download the code blocks IDE. So I write here download code blocks, and you can see the website of the code blocks is, the official website is codeblocks.org. So I click on this one, and now we can download from this website. So there is a download link. If you cannot see, there is the left side, we can see news, feature, amino, like news, features, downloads, user manual. So we click on downloads, and we download the binary files. Also, we can download the source code because the code blocks is free, open source. So you can download the source code and change, and bring change on the source code of the program and compile it and run it again. So now we download the binary release. So I close this. So it support for Windows XP, Vista 7, 8, 10, and 11. It also support Linux, 32-bit and 64-bit. It's Mac OS. So we use Windows. So if you use Mac OS or Linux, you click on these links. So I click on the first link for Windows. So now we can see is listed here. So we can download the code blocks. We can download the code blocks, this one, which is a .exe file, and it also contains mingw. It means it has built-in compiler. But if you download this one, it doesn't have the compiler. You should introduce, or this one, which is for non-admin. So, but we download the third one, this option, which is, included the mingw. So I can click the link here, source fork, and now wait for a second. So the download of code blocks will start. Yes, the download has been started. We can see here. So just wait so the download will complete, and then we go and install the code blocks and we create our first project. because in real world, in production development, in production environments, we use the IDEs because we cannot implement large programs on Notepad or simple text editor. So we need to use IDEs, and IDEs will help us organize our files. They have built-in C++ compiler, built-in editor. So the code blocks is downloaded, so I can close the mm, our browser, and now I go to my file. I go to download folder, and now I can see here I have the code blocks. So let's install in our system. So just double click, and the installation will start. So we just wait and refresh, so the installation will start. Yes, you want to run as administrator? Yes. Okay, so the code blocks version is 225.03. Next, I agree with the agreements, which tools you want to install, and all of them is check marks. I put on default, like I don't bring any change here. So let me where you want to install. So next, and the installation is start for the code blocks. So just wait for the installation. And as we talk that IDEs in production environment, we use IDEs like code blocks, like Visual Studio, or like clone client from I say I just say that one line C line, or client from uh, JetBrains company. So we can use one of them. So I will use right now code blocks. Then later we go and use also in other lectures. We also use the Visual Studio and also the client code IDs. So you also become familiar with them, how to use them. So I definitely use those IDs on the upcoming lectures. So, but in this, lesson, I only use, the code blocks. And you can also download and use the code blocks for this lecture. It's free and open source. And you can install this one on your Windows, you can install on your Linux, you can install on your Mac OS, whatever operating system you use. Yes. Do you want to run code blocks now? I say yes. I want to run the code blocks. I want to open. Okay. Then next and finish. So the code blocks will open, and now it says, the open source class platform ID. It means it's open source. You can download also the source code, bring changes, and then compile and then run it. Okay. And also it's cross platform. It means you can install this program that code blocks on Windows, you can install on Mac OS, or you can install on Linux, whichever operating system you use. So I use Linux, Windows. It says current default compiler is GNU GCC compiler. It says here. And it says no compiler, it says detected. It means which compiler is detected? GNU GCC compiler. I say okay. Okay, so the code block is open. It's the stack the code blocks. Program. So now no leave everything. Code blocks are currently not the default application class. So are using for yes. I select yes. So it should be in files because I only use the code blocks for C. Now what we can do is create a new project. So we can create a new project from here. You can see, or open existing project if you have from here, or you can use from file. So go to the file menu and click on the new. Then we have here a project option. We have class option, project, build target, file, custom, like from templates. But we need only to create the project. So I click on the file menu, then new, then project. From here, I can select console application. and then click on a go button. So from this page, we just click next. So which language you want to write your code? So we use the C++. If you use C, this, you want to use program on C language, you can select C, but we use C++. So next. And now the project title. So I write here my first project. Let's say first project. This is your, project title. And you want to, if you want, where you want to create this folder. So you can click here and I go to desktop inside C++ programming. Select that folder. Yes. So I want to store my project there. So now next, and which compiler you use? Of course, I don't change. I don't bring any change here because the GNU GC compiler is for C++. And then click finish. So if you can see here, our first project is created on, code blocks, and the name is the first project. And then we have the sources folder. Under the sources folder, we have main.cpp file. And this is the good things about, the IDEs or the code blocks. It's already written the C++ program for you. So we just, remove because we need to write by ourselves. So I write here our program ash include. If you can see, it will, automatically compilate. When you type inc, it means what do you mean? You mean include? You mean line? What do you mean? So I say include, ash include, then iOS stream. You see, it automatically suggests for you. So this is the good things about, IDEs. And you look at the colors, and now you, in the another line using, you see, using namespace. If you type it automatically, using namespace std and then integer main. Even you can type main, like here integer main, and this is our main function. So here we can, see out. I can write, I use code blocks to write cpp programs, and semicolon, and the end return 0. Return 0. So now we wrote our first program on, code blocks IDE. Now we need to execute, or we need to compile this program. So the good thing is, so you go to the build, and then you click on build and run. So here you go for compilation and running this program. You click on the build menu, then build and run. Now you can see, I use code blocks to write CPP programs. And if you close this, you change here the, you know, and then change. I want to become a C++ programmer. And now I save, Control S, then build. By one click, you compile and run the program. You see how it helps and how it, easy is to write a C++ program in, you know, in, in code blocks. So I write another, like cout. I really enjoy to learn C++ programming language. And then semicolon, then another cout. I never gave up. Now let's, compile and execute. So you just go to the build and click build and run, or you can use the F9, from your keyboard. Yes, so now you can see I want to become a C++ programmer. I really enjoy to learn C++ programming language. I never gave up. So you can see how it is easy to write C++ program in the code blocks. So if you want to change, like let me go to the file so I can change the size of the text. So we can go to properties. There was some tools. We have the settings. Yes, we have settings. Then we go to editor. So we can check, if we can find, this is a simple text font you see there. So you can choose here the size of the font. Like I can see, okay, 18, and then okay. Okay, now you can see we have, the font size is changed and you can see very easily. So this was our third lecture, and I hope you enjoy from this lecture, and thank you for watching this lecture. And these lectures will be continued. Thank you for joining again, and thank you for your support and encouragement.